There you are, my beautiful divers. Welcome back to another absolute banger of the most disturbing videos on the internet today. For context, don't believe anything you hear or see on this video. It is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Oh my goodness, we got an absolute banger for you today. And let's dive in.
The last common question I get, well, there must be a chink in their armor. What's the number one thing they don't want you to know about or talk about evenly with other humans? Your own biology. Could that be because if humans understood that somebody got a remote to you, that they would care? Maybe. Or could it be those of us that it knows are already uppity? We're going to fight even harder, the more of us that can come together. Maybe. But the number one thing they don't want you to know about or talk about is your own biology. They're busy making laws for how to rearrange your neurons. You don't get a choice. You can purchase back some neurons from Elon. They're busy making laws that sell your DNA between one another and companies for the Internet of Behaviors. You don't even know it's there or how it works. 30 years is a long time to be making money off of everybody's ignorance. You're still sitting there, just pretending. Your religion, your belief system, your atheism will save you from your own blood flow. It's called piezoelectric. It's how your bones and muscles move. It's called bioelectricity. It's how your cells signal one another naturally. You ain't getting out of that. So get over yourselves, get over to the NIH, and start reading about real biology. And as I warned all of you multiple times, the next time somebody tells you that they can do energy work or feel their own skin, you better make friends. Triage and electromagnetic warfare ain't going to be Tylenol and a bandage. Your guns won't do anything. You don't bring guns to a plasma weapon fight. I'm just horrified, truly. Somebody let me know I have like 3,000 videos or something with almost daily trying to get you people to talk about biology. You're still giving it away to these cults and people and demons. No, it's yours. It's magnetic. Like I said, you won't be escaping your own body. I thought everybody knew that. Get ready. Because whatever is coming and going, humans will figure it out. You're the ones they're going to need.
Hold on, let's go back. Did you guys see that? Human digital twin. Could they be hacking our biology and creating a human digital twin? They're cloning us digitally. For entertainment purposes only. Don't come for me. Now this next slide. Guys, this is taken straight out of some type of text point or lab PowerPoint. Okay, let's look at this. Environmental monitoring. This looks like it was taken out of some type of network engineering book. And they are training people to work on this. Applications of biosensors. I wish I could read that. Human augmentation. They're not able to transfer our consciousness, so they are doing the closest thing, and that's human augmentation, creating a digital clone. Guys, look at the top right. You see how that says CSIRO 2011? They were augmenting, look. They're augmenting insects, the internet of insects. This is taken straight out of a college course or some type of study a job makes you do to be current. There's a chip on the back of a bee. This was in 2013. Imagine what they doing now. We are the node in the network. So it's just no longer just internet nodes. We got biological nodes. They're creating a whole digital realm. And what if they're trying to fuse them together with CERN? This is all just one big giant joke for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe anything you hear or see.
In 2007, the Korean AI prototype known as Honey attempted to manifest itself physically, resulting in a hybrid biological amalgam that tried to escape from the servers. These are the only security camera images that captured it before its escape. In 2007, the Korean AI prototype known
This is getting disturbing, man. The AI is getting out of control. Man, this is a deep, dark one.
If you believe that what you say will happen, you will get whatever you say. I'm so dumb. You just spoke that into existence. Things don't work out for me. You just spoke that into existence. I miss all the opportunities. You just spoke that into existence. When you speak, your whole brain vibrates. The neural pathways that get established in the brain when you speak things, it is dramatically different than if you just think it. What you say is what you get. The tongue is a creative force.
If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I sure did miss doing these specimens with you guys, because just look at this one. Bright red geode. Man, they hit the jackpot when they cracked this geode open. I mean, look inside of it. I already know what I'm gonna name this specimen. Raspberry Gumdrops. Look at how it just dazzles in front of you. Extraordinary. You know it's the weekend, so I gotta double up on you. You can already tell I got an absolute banger for you. Look at this.
有没有型好看一点的？我的价格出来吗？宝贝，还没找出来，露露还没找出来，还没找到。
这是背面。
这颗好看，这颗，宝贝，李宝宝这颗。
Chico, yeah, we know, it's bad. We see it. Look at how it just illuminates like into a Mountain Dew. Oh man, if I had to name this, I would call it Mountain Dew Power Sword. This is absolutely crazy. What would you guys name this piece? Mountain Dew Power Sword. Jeez. Man, how much you think something like this would go for? It's at least what? At least 2.5, 3 feet. What is it? Wow, they got it for sale. Man, I don't even want to know the price. This is probably outstanding. Yeesh. This is probably one of the coolest pieces I've seen, to be honest with you. And if it were mine, I would place a hilt, right under it and just have that light shining on it. How cool would that be? Oh my goodness. What would you name it? All right, y'all, we got Sasquatch. We got Sasquatch shaking some trees. Oh, hold on. All right, y'all, we got Sasquatch. We got Sasquatch shaking some trees, y'all. Hey, he's a beast. I think he just snapped that one. He just snapped the one at the end. Look, that's some power, low key. He just Alright, the whales are in cahoots with the Celestials. What is going on? Who are the Celestials?
Now, I've learned from the shaman of the Yupik tribe who died recently. He claims that the whales have the knowledge of the human race dating back 450,000 years. They can actually call the cetaceans in. They'll come right up to the shoreline, and they can communicate with them telepathically. He had read that at one time there was an Aboriginal tribe on the south coast of Australia whose shaman had this capability, but according to the anthropologist, none of the tribe were still alive today. But he went there anyway to check it out. Thankfully, he found 20 members of the tribe still alive. Whenever they held a ceremony, the shaman would call the whales in through the tunnel, and they would come right into the lagoon, and then a UFO would come down and land, and the occupants would communicate with the shaman and with the whales. Also had a legend that one day all the shamans capable of communicating with cetaceans would come to their sacred lagoon and all commune together. Not too long ago, as they had a seismic upheaval, and the subterranean tunnel collapsed, so the whales can't come in anymore into the lagoon. But the interesting thing is, all 20 members of the tribe have a birthmark on their chest, and it's in the shape of a humpback whale. When he was down there, they had another small earthquake, and they had this huge sacred rock right on the edge of the lagoon. During the quake, the rock split right down the middle. All the tribal members were petrified. They thought this was a terrible omen for them. They went up to the rock to look, and I've seen a photograph of this. The whole interior of the rock is white, except right in the middle there is a silhouette of a humpback whale. It's perfectly true. Last year, all the shamans gathered there, and he's making a documentary movie of it now. Now, I've learned from the shaman of the...
Damn, when does that come out? I'd love to watch that. That is a crazy story. Could be a dolphin tribe out there.
So it could be 1727 now?
It just could be. What if nearly 300 years of history never happened? Stay with me. In 1991, a German historian named Hermann Illig proposed something that shakes the very foundation of time itself, the phantom time hypothesis. His claim? The years 614 to 911 AD were completely fabricated. They don't exist. They were inserted into history, and we've been living in a false timeline ever since. Now, who would do this? And why? Enter Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII. Three powerful figures who supposedly conspired to alter historical records and manipulate the calendar. Why? Because Otto III wanted to rule in the symbolic year 1000 AD, a number that carries power, prophecy, and legitimacy. But instead of waiting, they fast-forwarded history itself. Now, think about this. We have written records from this missing period, sure. But where are the artifacts, the architecture, the undeniable physical proof? You'd expect 297 years to leave more behind, yet it's eerily scarce. And if this sounds impossible, just remember, Tartaria was erased from history.
So it could be 1727 now?
It just could be. What if nearly...
Now that's a rabbit hole.
Right now is August 12th. approximately 2235, and this is what I am observing. This object has been floating like this for the past few minutes. It started, based on the screen, 2-3 inches higher, and it was much brighter, and now it is descending with a very interesting pattern. Right now is August 12th.
The UFO butterfly. How strange. What could that be? Alright, Russian man, he said actually tried cloning himself. This Russian guy got bored at home, so he decided to create life. Yeah, he injected his own DNA inside an egg to see if he'll get some growth. One of his attempts actually made a strange creature, Homunculus, but it attacked him by spitting some kind of acid, so he destroyed it. Most people would stop there. He tried it again. In the next video, he demonstrates the entire process. He said people were calling him insane. According to him, they didn't understand science, so he was explaining that the new egg hatching this time, it was quite curious, even friendly. He had a better chance of surviving as it started adapting to water, even showed signs of communication. The issue was feeding it. He started to give him milk as a protein, but it wasn't hard to feed, so he figured out and started growing fast. Now it's feeding on bread and carbs, and even trying to teach it English. He said it's forming some type of communication with it. Yeah, this is crazy. Just imagine if he's doing this at home, imagine what a lab is doing in a bigger facility. Absolutely crazy. He actually made a homunculi. That's dark.
Now that we know that there is a method of harvesting energy from the sky 24 hours a day using this circuit, imagine being able to harness power 24 hours a day using a magnet array. I know this is a weird but new discovery that was just filed to the patent office back in 2012. And I just want to say that this right here is got to be one of the most unique discoveries I've seen when it comes to monopolar effects with North and South Pole magnets. Now, using a bowl-shaped array, David Lapointe discovered how to bend magnetic fields that he calls primer fields in certain directions that can form monopolar effects. I highly recommend checking out his channel, and be sure to check out this part 1 video that he shared on primer fields, because once you understand how primer fields act, it might not be so impossible to create a nuclear fusion reactor right in your backyard. Actually,
I need to grab a pen and pad. I feel like we're about to do something.
Better yet, right in your basement on a very small scale. Check this out.
You guys ready to get your Tony Stark on?
This is unaltered video of the hydrogen-boron plasma in an experimental primer fusion reactor. The primer fusion process produces no carbon emissions, and the electricity produced will cost far less than other methods of generating electricity. Therefore, primer fusion will not require government intervention to force people to reduce their carbon emissions. Instead, the money people save on their power bills will be all the motivation they need. The critical breakthrough that led to the primer fusion concept was the development of these simple bowl-shaped magnetic arrays. The United States Patent and Trademark Office granted a patent in 2014 that covers these magnetic arrays. Over the years, many experiments were conducted with these magnetic arrays to determine how they could be used to optimize fusion reactions. I have now designed and constructed several different fusion reactors that allow me to experiment with a wide range of conditions. Some of the critical parameters I experimented with were the shape of the magnetic bowls, the spacing between the magnetic bowls, the magnetic polarity of the bowls, the magnetic flux density of the bowls, the design and location of the electrodes in the magnetic bowls, the vacuum levels in the reactor chamber, the gases used in the reactor chamber, the voltage, current, and polarity of the electricity flowing through the plasma. Here we see one of the experimental permafusion reactors, the power supply, and the measurement module for the upper magnetic array. This image does not show the second power supply and measurement module that provides power to the lower magnetic array. Since I could not find commercially available high voltage power supplies that met my specifications, I decided to design and build my own. These high voltage power supplies allow me to adjust the voltage level, polarity, and frequency of the electricity flowing through the hydrogen-boron plasma. You can find more information on these power supplies and their capabilities in my next video, Permafusion 2. In Permafusion 2, you will see how I utilize 3D printers to rapidly produce many of the parts needed for the permafusion experiments. Permafusion 2 will also provide a more detailed explanation of the methods used in the permafusion experiments.
Guys, you know we be on these waters, right? So I'm just looking at this, looking at the pattern inside this. Don't those look like the top dome piece of like a lot of these ancient structures we look at, like the cathedrals, the not just the cathedrals, but in the old Tartarian buildings, they'll have just a centerpiece in the middle of the biggest room like this. It would be basically like this, but upside down. So that's got me thinking, man. Not only were these buildings harnessing, it's quite possible they had some type of reactor in these homes. Maybe that's what the fireplaces were for, you know, bouncing off stuff, creating some type of reactor, possibly.
Boron is inexpensive, plentiful, and high in energy content. A tablespoon of boron fused with hydrogen will produce enough electricity to power the typical home for 1 year for less than $100. This diagram represents the fusion of a hydrogen proton and boron-11. This process is referred to as aneutronic fusion because relatively few neutrons are produced when these two elements undergo fusion. Here we see a representation of a hydrogen proton and a nucleus of boron-11. When the hydrogen proton and the boron-11 nucleus fuse, they form a highly excited and very unstable nucleus of carbon-12 that almost instantaneously splits into 3 highly charged helium-4 alpha particles that fly off at high velocities. These highly charged helium-4 alpha particles then collide with the collector to extract the charges, which are then run through a transformer to directly convert them to usable electricity without going through a heat conversion process, such as that used in the typical steam-based power plant. Here we see some micrographs of boron that melted due to the high temperatures in the permafusion reactor.
So this is almost showing you, this is the boron, and this is just showing you how the nuclear reactor is working. This nuclear fusion, whatever's happening, I needed to be writing some stuff down, you know? What if you slap 2 Mercury rectifiers on the end and you make this nuclear fusion pop off of the current popping off from the Mercury rectifiers, harvesting something in the ionosphere?
These high temperatures also distorted some of the components in the test reactor. This heat distortion is why the bowl-shaped magnetic arrays shown here are slightly misaligned. A significant redesign of a new permafusion reactor that is currently under construction should solve the problems with overheating. This new permafusion reactor will utilize a horizontal arrangement, high-temperature ceramics, and a mineral oil cooling system to keep the components below critical temperatures to prevent damage. Shown here is a block diagram of the permafusion process. There are only 3 moving parts in the entire permafusion process, and all of the components shown here can fit into an area the size of a typical home refrigerator. For more information on the permafusion process and our goals, visit our website at permafusion.org. With permafusion, it will soon be possible to eliminate carbon emissions and significantly reduce energy costs at the same time.
When I'm looking at this light, it's kind of giving me the black and white photos that we get pictures of the old world. Real quick, when I'm looking at this light right here, I'm getting World Fair vibes from the aura that these lights are giving off. It is the same aura that you would see. Like, take a look at this photo and take a look at this one. You know, it's like the same type of lights. Like, it's like a aura the light is giving off. This isn't your normal, you know, incandescent light bulb. You know, these old world buildings, what if it was emitting some type of light like this? They just didn't flicker the lights on. I'm starting to notice like they were generating energy. Like, it just wasn't a light show. They were actually creating some type of reactor phenomenon. That's all we got for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is human biofield. When you put human biofield in the comments below, that lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video and you really rock with your boy. And I just want to say thank you so much for your support. Love you guys. Don't forget I'm doubling up on you today, so be sure to head over to Jet Ski Chuck later. Don't miss out on any of the action. Find the bell icon, turn notifications to all, and be sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the actions. This was the most disturbing video on the internet today. See you later.